Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dishin Days. It is Sunday, December 4th, and stepping in for host Tony Moore, I am Araceli Aviles, and to my direction, we have...
I am Michael Mattis, standing in for Michael Mattis.
And below me, we have...
Hey guys, Justin Hareld here.
All right, welcome to Dishin Days, everyone. Happy December. The holidays are upon us. How's everybody feeling?
It is cold. It is cold here in LA. We're having an LA winter right now.
LA cold, yeah. LA cold.
Meaning it's 50 degrees.
55,
yeah. A little bit warmer than that.
We preface that by saying it's LA cold.
Mm-hmm.
Which our apologies to the rest of the country if you find that insulting.
Yeah, the ones that are living in 20 degrees,
Yeah, come join us. You'll probably be in t-shirts. We'll be in long sleeves, having our wine and cider.
Absolutely.
Hot wine.
Yeah. Before we get started, let me encourage everybody to follow us on our social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on Twitter. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching us live, please do that now if you haven't already. And then if you can't watch us live, you can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We're on all of the podcasts, all the major podcasts. And buy our merch. The holiday season is upon us. Perfect time to go to dishindays.threadless.com and either buy it yourself or encourage your family members to buy it for you for the holiday season.
The second one, yeah.
Yes.
Get someone else to buy it for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, go. Yeah. Hint, I want this.
Hint. Yes, and it's like they're saying like you need to order, if you want it in time for Christmas, you need to order it like this week.
Yeah.
Just for retail in general. And I'm like, it is only December 4th.
I know.
And they're saying like, if you want it by Christmas, order it now. Unless you want to pay like an exorbitant amount for overnight shipping.
Look, I told the kids to get me their Christmas list first week of November because I already knew what the last couple of years were like. And I was like, we're not dealing with this.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are not. I am, especially for us working folks who are working up until Christmas. We're like, no. Ain't nobody got time for that last minute shopping trip. And also I feel it's kind of rude to our truck drivers and our train drivers and all those people are putting in that hard work in the last minute. And yes, and some of them don't get overtime. So it's like, I'm trying to lighten the load.
Or as we found out, sick days. Some of those folks don't have sick days, which is kind of appalling, but
yeah.
It's that's a thing.
Yes. So all that to say, if you have the time, if you have a day off, please go support, get your Christmas, your holiday shopping done as early as possible. We appreciate it. I know that our working class folks appreciate it. And that is my PSA for the day.
Dishindays.threadless.com.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yes, thank you very much for supporting. Yes. Now, on to fun topics. What did we think of this week's Days of Our Lives?
Fun topics.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said fun.
Did I miss an episode? I didn't really. This was not a fun week.
No.
For me, it wasn't a lot of movement storyline wise, but I felt like we got like some really good like acting scenes. I'll say. I feel like the cast got to shine a little bit this week. I thought in their scenes, like the writing was really great. And we had some interesting pairings who we can get into later, which I thought was good. But not a lot of excitement or movement. So I won't say it's an info week because I really did enjoy it, but it didn't move plots along that much. It was more.
Yeah, it was mostly like it was like Fallout, and then just we had a little movement, I guess, with the Chanel storyline. But yeah, it was like Fallout from what happened the previous week. Is what a lot of this week was.
Yeah.
Yes. And briefly, actually, I want to give a shout out to last week we were off, so we didn't get a chance to shout out Dan Furigal's fantastic performance.
Yeah.
That's his Emmy reel.
Yeah, it was great.
For sure.
That's his Emmy reel. I'm gonna say in the lead category. Don't be putting him in supporting. That man is a lead actor, and that was a lead actor Emmy-winning performance.
Yeah. And this week's was Elia's Emmy reel.
I know. I was gonna say the past 2 weeks for both of them, they've just been killing it. Yeah.
Dang it!
Elia, where's our money?
I know. Soon as
where's our $20?
We conjured her. Like, is she gonna be in the job?
Oh, she muted herself. Oh. Wow, 3:10. We didn't make it 10 minutes without Dr. Araceli's phone.
Oh my god, too funny.
We have CVS Pharmacy on the line for Dr. Araceli.
Oh my god, and she called me out on it too.
That was funny. Just when we mentioned her, it rings. Yeah.
Oh,
and it's funny how we were mentioning Elia and her, and it rang. That lady has powers.
Yeah.
Okay.
If she isn't here now, she'll watch the playback and laugh about it.
Okay, I think we're good for at least another hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so before my phone rings again, it's time to start.
Dishin Days.
Dishin Days.
Oh,
way off. Who cares? It's all right.
It's the end of the year, people. We've tried it all year, and now we're just,
we're in the December slump.
Yeah. We just got to record it and then mouth it, pretend like we're saying it.
Oh, God.
Have an Ashley Simpson moment. out of
start to slow down.
Oh my gosh. So bad. All right. We're going to get into it now. Starting with everybody's favorite storyline. Nicole, Eric, Jada, Chloe, Kate, EJ, with a little bit of Alex, who just was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Handled it very well, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to start with this. Does anybody understand Nicole's point of view in this?
Okay, here's my I can understand how she felt threatened, and I can understand how she felt like mother F. I finally, admitted that I can't suppress my feelings anymore. Eric and I are back together, and now there's this baby, and I can understand her frustration. However, the way she went about it, but it's typical Nicole. It was typical Nicole, and it was very in character for her to do what she did and to have that conversation with Jada to kind of be like, but I so I see like why, but she shouldn't have done it. I see why, but she shouldn't have done it. And I feel that, it's even Jada wasn't really blaming Nicole. No. You know what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she was like, it was like, oh, it wasn't until I had this conversation with Nicole that I realized what it would mean for like my career and as a single working mom, and it just with a father that has another partner. And it is almost like Jada feels like it wasn't like she was heavily influenced. She was influenced by Nicole, but she ultimately made the decision for herself.
Yeah.
But then Eric, took it and ran with it. So yeah, I don't defend what Nicole did, but I understand why she was feeling threatened.
Yeah, I felt there was so much nuance with the storyline. I think this is the most interesting it's been in a while in terms of like the way the characters are interacting with each other. Like, I agree with you. I think it was great not to have Jada play the blame Nicole card, and she did it. And it was like you said, like the stuff Nicole said to her is 100% true in the context of being a single mom, but also it was Jada's decision saying, I took all of that information, whatever Nicole's intentions were, and I took it in and I made the best decision for me. And I also like that they didn't play it as, also in regards to Nicole, they didn't play it like mustache twirling villain. They didn't play it as she's going to go in there and my goal is to get her to have an abortion. And that's my goal. Like they didn't, I felt like there was some nuance there too, where she was sort of needling Jada, but not really. I felt like she was honestly surprised when she found out Jada had an abortion and was like, wait, what? So I think her intention was to I don't know if it was to let off steam. I don't know if it was to, like I said, needle her a bit. But I don't think her intention was, I'm going to go in this room, I'm going to go see Jada, I'm going to convince her to have an abortion, and I'm going to do it behind Eric's back. You know what I mean? I felt like that wasn't the intention either. But I love that that's Eric's response too, of he doesn't necessarily believe she went over there to do that, but he is also like, why? You couldn't leave well enough alone. Like, you couldn't either trust me to handle this, and you're inserting yourself in a situation not that you're not a part of, because I think she is a part of it, of course, but it's also like back off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really well done. This is probably the most nuanced we've had of this storyline so far.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
It was nuanced. That conversation between Eric and Nicole had so many layers to it.
Yeah.
So many years of history and disappointments and distrust layered in that conversation, which I appreciated from a writing standpoint. And it's in line with Eric as a character of being that caring and understanding, that he was at least open to hearing Nicole's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to go into what Araceli thinks. For me, this is maybe one of the worst things Nicole has ever done. And I include that time she kidnapped Sydney.
I was going to say, this is the worst.
And I even include that time she fell down the stairs and accused Jennifer of pushing her.
That's right.
That's what I thought of. I thought of that a lot.
And here's why I compare those two incidents. When those things happened, those were criminal acts that Nicole did. They were reactionary because Nicole was a reactionary person.
Mm-hmm.
But they were a reaction out of the deepest, most horrific grief you can experience as a woman and a mother. And so even though she did despicable things, the motivation behind it was out of grief.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if you can't forgive that, there's a portion of that can be understood. This was reactionary to a reality that didn't even happen yet.
Mm-hmm.
This baby was not even, and we can argue whatever, if you, whatever you believe, what when life it starts, whatever. But this baby was still basically an idea.
Mm-hmm.
She was very, very early in her pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there had been no time to really think about the future.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before Nicole swooped in and put all of these thoughts in her head. And the thing is that just because Nicole made valid points, she was not the person to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Those are points made by a dear, dear friend.
Yeah.
Or a family member, someone who has your best interests at heart, not your own. And that is what Nicole did. She did not go into that room thinking about what was best for Jada or for Eric. She went into that room purely for selfish motivations. Yeah. And that is why I say it's one of the worst things she's ever done.
Mm-hmm. She did kind of admit later in the week when she and Eric were having the blow up, she finally did, out of frustration, say like, yeah, I didn't want the picture. So she kind of almost in a way admitted that maybe she didn't admit that she went in intentionally to convince Jada to have an abortion, but she admitted she didn't want him or her, the baby, to come to fruition. Yeah. So I mean, and maybe Nicole didn't want to admit that, and maybe it was a case where she didn't realize that's what she was doing, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like in her mind, she was helping Jada, but in actuality, she was trying to convince her to, get rid of it.
Yeah. And like you said, that's not, those are points that a friend makes, but it's also points that you don't make to someone after they've already made the decision to have the baby. Those are points you make maybe if someone's thinking about it and they ask you for your opinion and you say, hey, this was my experience, the good and the bad, and then you leave it there. But you don't, after someone makes a decision to have the baby, you don't come and say, oh, well, by the way, this is what you're going to be facing, which also like didn't ring so true to me. I was like, Nicole, how much of that did you experience with Holly? I was like,
just because it was
it's like,
just because it was hard. I mean, Holly was a blessing to Nicole after everything she had been through. She fought for that little girl from the time of her conception. From literally as a little embryo.
It's like,
I mean, she fought for that kid every step of the way, and she has the nerve to go to another woman and try to tell her what motherhood is, when, I'm sorry, motherhood is a unique experience to every woman, which is why you don't go to someone you don't know, someone who is not your friend, and just lay out what motherhood is going to be like. That's not your business.
Yeah.
It was, I honestly, I was just disgusted. Because if you reach a certain age, like as a woman, I'm sorry, you've already had these conversations with your girlfriends. You've been in those positions, having those conversations. And I can tell you, they are excruciating. They are complicated and nuanced, and they're meant to be very, very, very private.
Yeah.
Not to be had with someone like Nicole.
Yeah.
I will say two things. One, I like the fallout of this as in the sense of this is the obstacle that for however long, we don't know, is going to keep them apart. I like that because, as we've been saying, it just came together too soon. Like, Eric's back one week, the next week they're falling in love, they're thinking of each other, and, their feelings are back, kind of a thing. So I like that. And also, I really gotta say, I love the choice to sort of pair Jada with Kate. I thought that was really inspiring, really interesting. And I felt like we're getting the stuff with Kate. I felt like it's the stuff we thought we were going to get with her and like Steve and Kayla, I felt like, because they were the closest, supposedly the closest to her in terms of like family. Because again, she kept mentioning like, I've been on my own, I've been taking care of myself for a while. So it's like, on one hand, it's like, oh, we don't know about the mom situation, that I'm assuming that's probably something that's going to come down the line one day. But also, she kept saying, I'm alone, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, this would sort of be the time where she would go to like a Steve and Kayla, the two closest or closest people to her dad and that she knows, or these would be like the friendship scenes she would be having with Stephanie or something like that. And it's like, I love the fact that it was Kate there. And I was like, oh, she's the perfect person to talk to about this. Like, yeah. So I love it.
It is a source of contention on Twitter that Jada has had basically no interaction with Steve and Kayla since she came to town. And I don't know if it's a scheduling thing or if they still have like COVID protocols where they try to keep the same people kind of together and not commingle.
I mean, I think they've had big holiday parties. I don't think that's it anymore. I think it's more of the fact that she was brought in. Though she was brought in as, her dad and Steve were best friends, that doesn't necessarily mean that Steve was a part of her life. He's her dad's friend. That doesn't mean that she herself is close to him.
Yeah. Or that she would be comfortable in like confiding this kind of stuff to Steve or Kayla. But with Kate they kind of live together. Like they live in the same place. They see each other, and Kate is like being like the mother figure to her now, which I still miss old Kate, but I do like that they're showing Kate doesn't have to always be some unscrupulous bitch, she can have a heart, and that's what we're seeing with Kate now. And Yeah, I'm wondering, of course, then I'm wondering, I'm like, oh, could Kate be like, are they going to go down this route where, Kate diddled someone 20 years ago, or she and Marcus had a thing? And
no more kids no more biological kids for Kate, but I do I like her as surrogate mother, like the stuff with Chad, as we see, we always love. So I like her in that mode. If she's not mothering her own biological children, I like the fact that she can mother someone else in a different way. So I would like to see that relationship develop, but yeah. No more biological kids for Kate.
No.
She's already got 6 now. She's had 6. 6 is enough.
I mean, just Kate's the perfect person for Jada to confide in. She was the perfect person to be there at the right place at the right time for her. I just feel like if Kate had been the one to talk to Jada beforehand instead of Nicole, maybe Jada would have come to the same conclusion, but it would have, yeah,
it would have been different. Yeah,
it would have
same
been
conclusion, but
and now
different.
we'll never know. Though Jada believes that this was the right choice for her, we will never know.
Yeah.
If Nicole's choices pushed her into it. Maybe she would have come to the same conclusion in time. She like I said, she was very early in her pregnancy. There was plenty of time for her to figure this out on her own. And she probably would have come to that conclusion on her own, but we'll never know now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to give kudos to that scene with Kate and Jada because I feel like there's this false idea that just because you have an abortion that you're not allowed to mourn. And I felt like that scene was so powerful with Jada and Kate that Jada was mourning a future that she doesn't have, mourning the loss of an idea, mourning a dream that she knows was never going to happen because she was never going to have this perfect life with her and Eric and the baby. And she had to put that to bed. And just because, it wasn't the right time for her, doesn't mean she's not allowed to mourn.
Yeah.
I feel like it was almost like she was trying not to, she was trying to be like the strong, she was trying not to be like in that vulnerable space. But Elia did a good job of like letting us know that she was holding that back. She was trying to be very matter of fact about it, but she eventually broke down.
Yeah, it was sort of like her and Kate sort of earned that moment to like be like, oh, I can trust you enough to like sort of be vulnerable with you and break down. I was also thinking too, and I think this came up online a couple of times, how far the show itself has come in regard to abortion. I mean, the last one we got, I think, was Mimi and Rex, and that was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They touched on it when what's her face was pregnant.
Gabby?
Gwen?
Oh,
was it Gwen and then Abigail? Yeah. Like Abigail was blamed for trying to convince her.
But that was never a real possibility.
We got an actual abortion, and back then it was like the character of Mimi was punished for it. Do you know what I mean? It was I'm gonna lose Rex because of this, because I went and had an abortion, because it wasn't right for me to have a baby now, or I didn't feel it was right for us at our stage in our relationship to have a baby. So it was about like punishing the actor, or not the actor, but the character.
Yeah.
Sort of losing that relationship. And I like the fact that we didn't get any of that this time.
Yeah. There was more support for Jada, at least in terms of like Kate and Eric. Exactly. And I applaud Eric for like trying to go, like, if you need anything, I was almost like, I know you need to give, first of all, you need to leave her alone for a minute, but good on him for at least, trying to be there for her. But yeah, the other part of this, what this also led to was Eric starting to hit the sauce again. So what's this going to lead to now?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, maybe Eric was a little naive to think that he could have it all. But in this situation, if there is blame to be had, it falls squarely on Nicole.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sticking her nose where it didn't belong.
Yeah. And then what does she do? Typical Nicole. She goes out, she gets drunk. There's previous dick. And so last time it was Xander. This time it's EJ. And we know what's going to happen, but you're just like, ugh, Nicole, like you're watching it and you're like that friend that's just like, girl, again.
I really cannot. Like, the last time I felt really legitimately on Nicole's side was the whole right after Eric left after their wedding. And that she had legitimate reason to be angry, legitimate reason to fall down on her and feel sorry for herself. But ever since then, she's just, I mean, that's true. This is all her fault. I'm sorry. Everything that has happened has been a result of the choices that she has made. And they are choices. She didn't fall into them. She chose to be with Rafe. She chose to marry him after Eric came back. She chose to leave Rafe and go back to Eric. She chose to go to Jada's room and stick her nose where it didn't belong. And now she's choosing to get drunk with EJ. Do we see a pattern here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I will say I'm loving snarky, judgmental Rafe from this.
Say again?
I said the one thing I am loving is sort of snarky, justifiably angry Rafe.
Yes.
I'm loving that characterization of him. That he could just sort of let it all out and be justified.
Earned.
Yeah.
So earned, because it's like he knows that she didn't just ruin their marriage, she ruined their friendship.
I know, which when you think about it, it was like we get so few sort of platonic friendships, and and they were one of them. That
I mean, I can't even be loud angry about it because I'm so disgusted.
But and listen, it threw a wrench into the storyline that we were all kind of like, all right. Like,
I mean, it is like you were saying, Justin. This is probably the most interesting the storyline has been. Like, it really like threw a good wrench into there. But Nicole is just one of those characters you want to be able to root for her, but she just makes it so difficult.
I no longer want to.
I know. And it's like you get to this point where we got to the point with Gwen where I was like, oh, I want to be able to like root for her. But then she did some shit. And I was like, well, you're making your choices. Like Araceli, you said, you're making the choices and, you're going to have to be punished for them. So, yeah, it's just frustrating. Like, you're like, no, Nicole, don't do that.
I know.
If Nicole makes a good decision, then I'll be surprised. That's the point we're at.
It'll happen. It's a circle. She always comes full circle. She'll get to a point where you're like, okay, this Nicole has it together, and then eventually she doesn't.
My hope is that maybe this is the break we need for a while. Like, who knows if they're going to come back together at some point in the future? But like, let's explore other things for now. Like maybe this Nicole and EJ, because we liked them before
we did like Nicole and EJ
ago. We were kind of like, ooh, we like this again. And then who knows? I mean, not that I'm rooting for Eric and Jada to get back after this. I kind of feel like, well, maybe there's new things on the horizon. Maybe like give Eric something else to do and give Jada, like, open her up to the rest of Salem. Yeah. Not just romantically either. Yeah. Just in general.
Yeah.
I've reached the point that I reached this exact same time last year. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm Team Jada. I don't care about any other people.
There was a comment earlier that I posted, and it was like, Jada's the most mature one of all of them, like the most level-headed, mature one. Like, agree 100%. She's like the what do you want to call it? The common sense, I guess, or the level-headed thinker.
Yeah. She is
someone
the
was
one...
like, Jada needs to meet Paulina.
Yes. She doesn't live in some magical land where things. She doesn't live in some magical land where things work out. You can tell she's been through stuff. She sees life as it is, and she prepares accordingly.
Yeah. I will say I did love the only thing about Nicole I did love, I will say, is the scenes with Abe and Paulina. I love those like fatherly daughter scenes we get with Abe and Nicole, and that they're still keeping those around. And I like that Paulina now is integrated into that and was like, I appreciate, even though it was a little not inappropriate, but a little headstrong when she was like, I'm going to go to Eric and tell him for you. And, you know, she sort of took that upon herself, was like, okay, girl, calm down. But I appreciated the thought of like, she's Abe's wife, and like Abe considers
she's being a good wife. Yeah. She's trying to be a good friend. But no, she only had half the information.
Yeah.
So, no.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't care about these people anymore. Let's move on. Let's move on to Chanel, Paulina, Sloane, Allie, Trask, Belle, Sean, and Abe. Speaking of Paulina, tried to strong arm Abe into making the situation worse. Thank God for Belle. But I want to start. I want to start with the heavy stuff, the conversation that should have been had before all of this blew up, which is Sloane versus Chanel. What did we think about that conversation? Was it justified? Was it like, what did we think about it? Because there was a lot going on there.
Yeah. I think, and what part of the conversation, I guess, is my question. Like Chanel coming at, or I'm sorry, Sloane. What's her name? Sloane, excuse me. Sloane coming after Chanel like she did. Do we think that's justified?
Yeah, I guess that's my question.
A little bit, yeah, because she's, I mean, I can understand why. Again, it's a case where I can understand, did she need to do it? No, but I understand why. She has a situation where she thought her mom committed suicide. It ended up being, in her mind, a murder, but an accident. And she feels like she was lied to. Now, and Chanel was kind of Chanel's the one left to blame, basically, for it. And so, I don't know. This comment, I'm trying to put it into words. She's seeking justice for her parents' death.
Sexy doing it.
And well, I wasn't going to say look sexy. But I mean, I can understand her motivation I can understand the motivation. Are her tactics proper? Maybe not really.
I think a lot of it is such misplaced anger at really her father. Because even with like the whole like cover up that Paulina did, which wasn't really a cover up, it was
not a cover.
Yeah, a little bit of it was, but it wasn't really like a cover up like the way Sloane is making it out to be. Because basically everything that Sloane is mad about outside of the fact that her mom is technically dead, all of that came from her father. The stuff about the mom committing suicide, that wasn't part of the court papers because that wasn't part of the cover up.
No, police were called. It was deemed. It wasn't deemed to be Chanel's fault.
Exactly. Yeah. So the sort of cover up that Sloane knows, a lot of that is from her dad, and that's who she should be mad at. Yeah. I mean,
but he's not there, and Chanel is, so that's why she's doing this.
But I think she's missing. I mean, we've seen that she's.
It's definitely misplaced. You put it You put it great. It's misplaced anger.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know. Maybe she didn't. Well, she found out a few years ago. So I don't know. I feel like she hasn't dealt with her grief, but she also isn't looking at it. She also isn't separating herself from the daughter, as opposed to like free thinking, intelligent person who could look at this and be like, okay, it was an accident. My kind of dad was up to some shady shit with his student. And like, I thought Chanel made some good points about the whole, like, yes, I was in a relationship with him. I felt sorry about it, but it was also an imbalanced relationship. And
she was not the one who was married. He was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It fell on him.
Yeah.
To deal with those consequences.
Mm-hmm.
She was a young girl. Yeah. And again, I will say, just because you are legally an adult does not mean you make rational adult decisions. Your brain is not fully developed until age 25. It's why people under the age of 25 do really, really, really stupid things.
And this is why those relationships are either frowned upon or against policy, against these are the reasons why these relationships are not encouraged or are prohibited against specifically. Yeah.
Yes.
I do like that Chanel didn't really take the bait, and she responded to Sloane, but didn't get angry, didn't get overly defensive, was just the calm one in that exchange, and didn't get overly defensive, and just kind of held her own, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I kind of got annoyed with Allie, to be honest. I know that she was trying to defend Chanel, but I felt like in that situation, Chanel did do something wrong. And trying to sweep it under the rug the way that Paulina did, the way that Allie was trying to do, it's not helpful. She was not helpful in that situation, I don't think. I understand the motivation to protect someone that you love, but you're not being helpful.
You should be silent. So you can be there in support, but be silent support.
Yeah. And then kudos to Belle. I'm really, really happy with her this week. She did a lot of fancy footwork around Melinda Trask. Ooh, she pissed her off.
Yeah.
She didn't. Unfortunately, Trask then retaliated, had Paulina arrested, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with Melinda on this one because she did do what she's being accused of.
Yeah. I still don't know if I understand how, like, so the authorities overseas in the other country that all of this took place in have basically given Melinda Trask permission to go.
Yeah, she was saying because they have an extra, what is it called, extradition agreement with Scotland or with England.
Scotland
so that's what's tying it together. Yeah, basically that's what's allowing them to give the U.S. Rights basically over the case. Essentially is what they're saying.
And here's the thing. I think it just mostly hinges on the fact that it might not have been properly investigated at the time. But in order for her to be extradited, it has to be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was murder. And that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's very likely not going to happen. What probably is very easy to prove is that Paulina broke several laws. Several rules, trying to cover this up, not including, theft of Sloane's. It was Sloane's personal property. And while they can't, and then the thing, and it's like she shot herself in the foot because the blackmail. There's no recording of the blackmail. There's no proof that the blackmail ever happened. And even though that is a crime, there's no proof of it. But there is proof that she stole Sloane's property. And at the very least, at the very least, she's not going to be governor.
I think that's where this is leading, that Paulina won't be governor. But I think if there's proof of that she stole the file, there's proof that it was blackmail to begin with. It sort of all leads into each other. Because she didn't steal anything. Alex stole it.
But my point is there's a trail from Paulina to Alex to Stephanie. There's a trail.
But I'm saying there's a trail. In order for that to happen, there has to be a trail of the blackmail to begin with. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to prove that she stole a file, why would she steal a random file that, you know what I mean? It's all connected to the blackmail to begin with.
But Sloane's crafty. She could tiptoe around that. She could say, I informed her that I knew this, this, and this. You all you need to do is get the language right and get out of it. It's not technically a crime.
I mean, I think the stronger case is that Paulina messed with the investigation way back when.
Yeah.
It's the easier case to prove that.
Which makes her a corrupt politician, which makes her prime for Melinda Trask.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't argue with Melinda on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but we understand. I mean, and it's another case. We understand why she did it.
Yeah.
We may sympathize with, but if it was illegal and she got caught, then Melinda is in her right to have her arrested.
Yeah.
It's just the facts, but
yeah, they're kind of stuck. So. Okay. Merry Early Christmas, Paulina. Sorry. Okay. Let's move on to EJ, Ava, Johnny, Wendy, Lee, Gabby, Stefan, and Chloe, and Tony and Chad. So we left off on the tail end of EJ being drunk as a skunk, mourning his mom. And let's just get this out of the way first. Do we think that Ava's alive?
Yes.
No, yeah, she was real. That was real.
Yeah.
I think she was real, yeah.
Also, didn't they flash on the bullet casing
Yes.
to show us that she was real, basically, if it was like a question mark, the fact that they showed the bullet was,
Yes.
She was real.
Yes. So she is still a threat out there. In the meantime, EJ is trying to, his family is trying to rally around him, and for Tony and Chad, and even for Stefan, brainwashed as he is, it's a no-brainer right now. He lost his mom. Susan was a good woman. They all seem to have made their peace with each other as brothers, so they're rallying around him. And then Johnny comes home. And he doesn't know anything happened. He's rearing for a fight.
It was such a, like, I was conflicted because I was like, okay, Johnny, when he finds out about Susan, he's going to drop the brainwashing thing. But no, then the scene kept going back and forth. He was like sympathetic towards EJ. Then he was like, but I know you brainwashed Steph. Like, he went in on him. And but then eventually he and Wendy decided,
separately.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Separately. And then they came together at the end of that episode and decided together to drop it or whatever. But I was going to say, I thought you were going to ask if we think Susan's alive, because I think Susan's still alive.
Oh, I think she's alive. Definitely she's alive. I don't think they would kill Susan and make Ava. Oh, I think she's definitely alive.
I think Ava. I think both her and Ava survived the car crash, and Ava's keeping her hostage. Ava's keeping her again. I think it'll be a while before we know that, but that's what I think. Is happening because Susan is so. I guess I wouldn't put it past Days after they literally killed Abigail to like not kill another beloved character, but
again, can we have a body before we make assumptions of nobody could have survived that crash? Can we check for a body?
That to me said she was alive. They were both alive immediately. When it was like, oh, it exploded, no one can survive that. I was like, okay, well, they both survived. That to me was sort of confirmation that they were alive.
If this was real life, after this happening like so many times in a row for so many decades of like, oh, they're not fine. They didn't find their body when they died. Now they're alive again. If it was real life, you would think twice. It's like, oh yeah, I need a body. But this is Salem, and in order to move the story and have the drama, it needs to be like like if there's no body, they don't go back and say like, oh well, this time there was no body, and this time they go into full on mourning.
So this is my issue with the storyline, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, and I mentioned it maybe not in relation to Johnny, but I definitely mentioned it in relation to Wendy. It was sort of like, what are we doing here to get to this conclusion, to go forth with this whole plan of, I want to get my brother, he's up to something, and Johnny being like, I want to get my dad, he's up to something. Let's figure it out for the greater good.
So and I was just like, their motivate Wendy and Johnny's motivations, like Wendy's motivation, her claim, is that it's out of concern for her brother.
I'm
like,
it just never made sense to me. Not
it doesn't make sense. No.
Yeah, it just never made sense to me. And then the fact that they're folding right now, essentially after like nothing, it was like, well, what the hell was all that for? What was all the gung ho about it for? We need to stop them. And then the minute you confront them, it was like, please don't say anything. And they're like, okay, I love you. I was like,
no, but Lee,
I don't understand.
Well, I buy
it's
it
a little
because
disjointed.
I buy it because
except Johnny's like his dad. He was just out for this was a power play for Johnny.
I buy Johnny's a little bit more because I felt like his was motivated on Ava, and then to find out Ava basically essentially killed your grandmother, that I kind of understand a little bit more, but
doesn't mean he's okay with the situation.
Yeah,
but I actually buy Wendy because I felt like and this was probably one of the longest scenes that Wendy and Lee have had on screen together. And I felt like it really gave a lot of context as to their relationship, how they grew up in their father's house, and how they, how they covered for each other when they were kids. And it gave I think it gave weight to Wendy as a character on her motivation and how she's a truth seeker. She is a tech person. She deals with problems right in front of her, and then she knocks down firewalls and stuff. She's like, no door is not open to me, kind of a thing. And she, talking with Lee about how when they were kids, he would pull stuff, and she would have to know. The little sister, so she had to know things. And it seems like that's just a part of her character that has been in with her, since she was a little girl. But as an adult, knowing is not necessarily a good thing. When you're a little kid, it seems like that child, and I think this makes sense when you think of the psychology of it. Is like when you're a little kid, you're curious, you want to know things. And of course she was that annoying little sister who wanted to know everything, who was all in her brother's business, but she loved him enough to cover for him. As an adult, it's very different. Knowing is not necessarily better, which she is now learning. And it seems like that's the crux. That's where Johnny and Wendy meet, where we talked about how they were in over their heads from the very beginning, learning this information. As they found out in Jakarta, they were in way over their heads. And now it seems like this is part of the growing up that they have to do, that knowing something is not necessarily a good thing. Being all, I want to know the truth and I'm more righteous than this person means nothing when you're dealing with real life situations.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with, I have this person in front of me who I love, who did something really, really bad. And when it comes down to it, do I believe more in the right thing or protecting the person I love? And that's the choice that they're both going to have to wrestle with now.
I guess I'd feel differently if when they were like searching for the truth, their motivations were more neutral. But I felt like during that whole time, it was all about, we're going to get them.
Exactly.
And then you got the information and you're confronting them. And then it was nothing. I understand what you're saying, Araceli. I would feel that way if it was more like, we're looking for the truth to figure out what happened here. And maybe they didn't know EJ and Lee were involved, and then finding that out maybe, and then confronting them. I could kind of see them being like, okay, like, I love my brother. I'm not going to rat him out. I don't like what he's doing. But it just, from the get-go, was all about, we need to stop Lee. We need to stop EJ. They're doing such bad things. We need to be the heroes here. And then they just basically joined their team.
And I never got
weird.
And I never got the idea from either side that they were protecting. They were trying to do it out of protection for them.
Well, I agree with that, but I think it's, if you frame it in the sense of that they're kind of, the motivations that they were telling themselves were very childlike. They were extremely naive, things that they were telling themselves, very childlike things. And now they're jumping into an adult situation.
Yeah. Interesting.
They just need to concentrate on themselves. Go out, see a movie, have some drinks, go to dinner.
Oh, well, they're going to have some drinks to get through that wedding.
So now it's like,
this wedding's going to be interesting. Like, I feel like we're not going to, I feel like that's the next kind of step in this storyline is Lee and Gabby's wedding. I really don't know what can happen, which is apparently New Year's Eve, which is coming up in a few weeks. But between like now and then, I'm like, okay, what can they possibly what can possibly happen in this storyline in the next 2 to 3 weeks before the wedding? I think the wedding is going to be kind of like the next climax of this story.
Especially if Stefan and Chloe are now declined to attend. If they're not even going to be there.
I'll be not happy if they do this big wedding, all is revealed, and Chloe and Stefan aren't there.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to be, if this wedding is the event, because we all know weddings shit always goes down. Yeah. Let's be real. So in this storyline, the shit that's going to go down is Stefan's probably going to remember his feelings for Gabby. Brainwashing is going to be revealed and all that. And to have like a key player, well, 2 key players really, to not have Chloe and Stefan there to learn the information and to get their reactions, it's just going to be like air out of the tires.
I think something's going to propel them to go there, even though they said this week they're not. I think something will divert them to that wedding for some reason and get them there. Yeah, because it all needs to happen at once. Yeah.
Come on, Midwest weather.
Yeah. Yeah, right. The plane is
snowed in. Might as well go to the wedding. Yeah.
My only thing now, like I said, this whole wedding sort of complicates things now in terms of bringing it back to Johnny and Wendy. Now they're in on the cover up. That excuse is not going to work when it comes to Gabby, who they both have agents to. When it comes to Stefan, Stefan and Johnny aren't that close, but you felt some pleasantries when he was on his like gung ho thing about you did this to Uncle Stefan kind of thing. So that sort of like is going to be in the mix now. Now who else is involved? I don't know. It's just, it complicates things. These are 2 people where I thought were somewhat very close to Gabby, and now they're sort of part of the cover. I feel like they just folded on her really quickly. Yeah.
It's I mean, I'll give it to Lee and EJ though. I'll give it to they were pretty convincing.
Yeah.
I'll give it to them. I mean, you can't, and Lee really put his heart on his sleeve, and I give it to Remington Hoffman again. He's been underutilized for so long, and he's really really pulling it out of himself. Sure. And Dan, I mean, I love the guy. He's just doing great. And how good do you have to be to convince us that brainwashing is okay?
Right?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, EJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
We got a Hail Mary this week.
Yeah, I guess it's a stopgap, to be sure. Yeah. So we'll see as the wedding approaches how long that lasts.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we move into our tidbits, I want to remind everyone to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us on Dishin Days Show on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on Twitter. Follow us on the podcasts, whichever you prefer, and buy our merch at dishindays.threadless.com.
Bam.
Let's move on to our tidbits, which is John, Marlena, Rachel, Kristen, and Brady. Okay, I didn't think that I could dislike Kristen more.
I
know. This is in line.
Time,
this is in line with Kristen, at least.
The whole time she was like that whole. I thought I could I thought I could bring my brother some comfort. I'm like by dressing up I'm like, and then we got her talking to the Marlena doll. Yeah. My favorite part of this was the interaction between Rachel and Marlena.
Of course.
When she called her like Gam Marlena or whatever.
No, it was it was like a they did the
Grammy
things.
Okay,
Michael, I assumed you were rolling your eyes at this. These are all like internet things. It wasn't Grandmar, MAR. So it was Grandmar, which is like an internet thing for Marlena.
Gam would have been better.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was like, Michael is like pulling out his hair because remember they did this and then they did the Araceli thing earlier with Alex.
Okay, I did roll my eyes at the Araceli thing because I knew that.
Yeah.
When Alex said they're calling you Araceli on the internet, I was like,
yeah.
Really?
But no, the Marmar thing is also like
Ryan, all of you, stop it. Anyway, we're not gonna stop.
That was hilarious
because people like it. I'm the only curmudgeon that doesn't like it. But she was like Granny Marmar, and she's like, oh, you can call me Grandma, but Mommy says you like it. Mommy's confused.
Yes.
I'm gonna use that line.
Yes, that was the line.
I don't know when, but that's a very usable real world line. Grandma's confused.
Yeah.
Mommy's confused.
Mommy's
so good.
I'm loving the use of Rachel because we haven't seen a kid, quote unquote, kid on the show in a while. And I like that we're getting, she's sort of not to compare them, but she's giving us Lauren Bowles a little bit, I think, in terms of like that sort of a little devious. She's possibly a little bit more devious, we'll see, than Sierra was when she was that age. But yeah, I'm liking the addition of sort of a bratty, somewhat bratty Rachel here, who's like on a Kristen Brady train.
I thought it was very brave of John and Marlena to trust that those headphones were to go in, and I was like, what if they're not on? And she's like, I was like, what if she's pretending to watch, but she's really taking in all the tea that you're spilling?
I actually thought that.
You go back home.
Remember, we still have the issue of the note that's still in the air. We don't know if that was a Rachel thing or not. I immediately thought of that when she was putting on those headphones. I was like, is she gonna like hit the mute button and listen to their conversation? I wouldn't be surprised.
And folks, this is why you don't sugarcoat it. You step away from the table. You tell the kids to go into another room. And when they ask, what are you going to talk about? You say, shut up. Go away. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't be nice about it. Grown-up stuff is grown-up stuff. It ain't none of your business, kid.
Ain't none of your business. You know, it's none ya. None your business.
None your business.
We're talking about none ya.
I have to say, those scenes were hilarious, though. I give it up to them.
I mean, well, it's at least it's nothing I wouldn't expect of Kristen. At least was it despicable? Right. Yes. Was it unexpected? No.
And we're getting a little bit of the softening with Brady here. We're getting starting. It's starting.
Even Marlena's like, when John was like, "There's no way he'll marry Kristen." I feel like Marlena was like, are you sure about that?
It happened before.
I feel like in her mind, she's like, he's dumb enough of an ass to do it.
Yep.
He's done it before. He did it the last time. Yeah.
The only thing that stopped him the last time was a sex tape.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh, that was good stuff too. The drama around it was good stuff. That was like a good wedding reveal out with
it sure that was
Marlena teaming up with Victor. I thought that was
definitely a wedding to remember.
Yeah. Anyway, but I feel like that was like when she was just like, "Are you sure about that?"
Also, if you guys notice, I've noticed this too. Whenever anyone brings up, they did it twice, once with Eric and once with Nicole. Whenever they bring up the Kristen thing with him, he's getting like less defensive and more matter of fact about it. I don't know if you guys noticed, like he's not doing the like, oh, let me explain everything so you don't think I'm crazy. He's just like, listen, he's just becoming more matter of fact. Like he's not getting as like mournful about the decision anymore. He's not like apologizing to people. He's not saying you don't understand. He's just saying basically, I did what I did for my daughter. I moved her in, and he's like ending it. So part of me,
he doesn't really want to hear he doesn't want to hear the naysaying anymore. He's like, this was my decision, and that was
but I also feel like again, he's softening a little bit to it more as opposed to like
it's just the pattern. And one thing that Days, as annoying as it is good at is having characters follow patterns. Like to give them kind of a concise character and not like, oh yeah, it makes sense that Brady would start falling for Kristen because he always falls for Kristen because Kristen's a master manipulator. Yeah. Even though we think any common sense person would see it, you know, it's Brady. And John was like this back in the day. John fell for Kristen, like so, like father, like son. Patterns repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
anyway, that's that. That's all I got to say about that.
That's it. Okay. Next up, Xander, Sarah, Maggie, Gwen, Jack. Speaking of naive.
I didn't know Gwen was such a good web designer.
I know.
Did we know this about her?
It's
or did
not...
she just go on did she just go on Wix and mock that clip? I mean, the site did not look great, but I was like, oh, that's what Gwen was doing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great, but
why did Xander do this from the beginning? Like, if he was going to come up with a lie, why not? Like, I just felt like this was the easiest part to do, to like do some cover up,
create the presence of the company,
create the presence of a company, and not just be like,
because he really didn't want to lie, and he has changed. You know why? Because as far as criminal behavior goes, he's bad at it now. That's how he's changed.
He's bad, and he's bad, and he has a conscience.
Yeah,
like old Xander would have popped Susan.
And he couldn't, right? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So here we are, and now Sarah believes him, and Gwen and Xander are friends, I guess. Let's get that alive. You know what? The only interesting part of this, that was all to be expected. The one interesting part of this was the one that I called 2 weeks ago, which was that conversation that Jack and Gwen had regarding Chad and the story that she was sitting on.
Oh yeah.
I really appreciated that conversation. Yes, she's still doing nefarious things and she's lying for Xander and blah blah blah, but at least she is not the one who committed the crime this time. I'll give her that. She didn't do anything wrong this time. And she really does seem like she was trying to toe the line and actually put in the effort into making an ethical decision as a reporter.
Yeah. Just as a side thing, I didn't realize, like, I didn't pull it together in my head that, like, they're all under that one roof, that she's essentially living with Chad again. I didn't put that together when she was moving in
living with Chad, living with Julie.
I know.
I forget where Chad lives.
I forgot it. Yeah, me too. I didn't put it together.
Bear Mansion? Is he at the Horton house? I was like, does he live at the Kiriakis place? Did Sonny give him a room? Like, I've lost track.
And it was funny when he asked her a couple weeks ago about the story to cover it. When I was like, oh, Chad, like, he's barging in there to like talk to Gwen, and then like it dawned on me, I was like, wait, he lives. When I was like, wait, they both live there.
They
now.
live there.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, they all live there now. Okay, this is getting a little weirder now.
Yeah.
That's one thing we need reminders about sometimes is where people
live.
Living.
Yeah.
Maybe I just can't keep track of it.
I think we forgot that Brady lived with John and Marlena until Kristen forced her way in there.
Okay, so yes, exactly. I forgot about it then, but then someone made a comment where they're like, "Oh yeah, Brady moved Kristen into his place," and I wanted to be like, "Correction,
no, it's
that ain't his place."
Yeah. And I like that they keep mentioning it too. Like everyone's mentioning that it's John and Marlene to like stick it in a little bit more. Not that he just invited her to live with him. He invited her into John and Marlene's house. It's like, okay, that's an extra layer of something's going on here.
And then by the same token, Jack invited Gwen to move into Doug and Julie's house, which I know it's the Horton house, but still.
Well, no, it's actually his house. It's his and Jennifer's house.
It is?
They actually took it over. Yeah. It's always been their house. Doug and Julie moved in with them.
Okay. All right. Okay.
When Alice died, Jennifer and Jack took it over.
Okay. All right. I'll give them that. But yeah, still.
But no, your point still remains.
Consult the people you live with.
No. Yeah.
Before you move people in. Yeah. So I appreciated that conversation. I felt like it was probably the most interesting part of it, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll see. Yeah, there's too many people, and Christmas is coming up. That house is going to be full.
Oh yeah,
so we'll see how that goes.
Or an ornament hanging, yes.
Yeah, but we'll see. Yeah, that house is going to be full. We'll see how that goes.
I want to see Twitter.
Gwen going to get her ornament this year? Is Gwen? I know.
I'm still going to be on Twitter, like.
Listen, and you know Sarah, because Sarah's a Horton. You know Xander's going to get one next.
Oh.
And are we going to have the shot of Sarah and Xander's ornament, and then Gwen's below it or something?
Nah.
We're going there. Yeah, we're going there.
Gwen's absolutely getting an ornament.
Yep.
Yes.
Jack is definitely surprising her. Jack and Jennifer are going to surprise her with an ornament if Jennifer's back by then. Yeah.
Jennifer will give it to her. We'll be the one. She'll come back.
She'll be like Jennifer. Yeah.
That'll be like a touch. Oh man, Twitter's going to be
getting that ornament. You already know it. Yes. Internet, prepare to explode because some of y'all do not like Gwen.
Those tweets ready.
No.
How dare she get an ornament?
How dare she desecrate Abby's memory with that on the Horton Christmas tree? And get ready.
Oh, hey, that reminds me. Did we ever find out what happened to Gabby's ornament? Because you know that Julie does not put it up.
Did she have Eli?
Gabby got an ornament the year that she was pregnant with Ariana and she was married to Nick.
Oh, Julie destroyed that years ago.
I assume so, but it occurred to me like that if anybody was going to be thrown off that tree, it would have been Gabby.
I have a feeling whenever there's an ex, they just remove them quietly. But listen, Julie burned that ornament in the fire drinking a glass of wine. She cursed it, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Julie, that ornament is not on that tree. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if we ever actually saw it. Yeah, but I think we can all assume it's gone.
Yeah, honestly, that tree would fall over with the amount of ornaments that have been on over the years. They have to pull them off.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the X's are quietly put away,
quietly moved away.
In a box marked exit.
Yes.
5 boxes. Yeah, just a stack of them somewhere.
But you know what? We got an update. I don't know if it was this week or last week. We did get a quick update on something that we had suspected that Mike and Nancy are dating.
Oh yeah. I don't mind that. Only part I wish we could have seen it. I wish they would have stuck around Salem a little bit more and built on that and then left. That's my only thing about it. Yeah.
But I feel like this is a good step, and like this is perfect for bringing them both back.
Yeah.
You know, for holidays and stuff. So good for them.
And it was 25 years ago. Like these are out of people who can get together after things. They certainly qualify as two people who hated each other 25 years ago. Can as mature middle-aged adults now. I can see them getting together. Yeah,
for sure.
This makes sense, and it worked. Yeah, I like it a lot. Okay, let's move on to just quickly Chad, Stephanie, Alex. I actually did really. This is probably the first week that I really was Team Alex.
Yeah,
that was sweet. I'll give it to him. That's sweet. You know, when you add a personal touch like that to a meal, you know, oh my God, that's everything.
I'd say the only thing, and this is like a minor thing, is that they teeter with Alex about the Adrian thing. They go back and forth because of Stephanie, and sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes, like, ideally he should not be dating Stephanie because he is Adrian's son. But I feel like they downplay that by like having him talk about Angelica, who honestly was not really part of his life. He was essentially Adrian, So I feel like they downplayed that to put him with Stephanie, but then was it this week? Yeah.
So
it was muffins with Joe's, and I was like, oh,
it was a little,
it was a little Stephanie, Chelsea, and Max for me.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
Which would be nice if we got an update on that.
Supposedly they're still together in Europe, but yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Chad's predictably, getting jealous and blah blah blah. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, very quickly moving to Sunny and Leo. Okay, are we moving into dangerous territory here?
We knew this is happening. We call this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. This is going right as according to how we thought that. And before you know it,
Michael
I'm
Madden.
telling you, it is just a matter of time.
It's I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if I need another obstacle of Will and Sunny again. I feel like they don't always know what to do. And again, we know real life stuff. They don't always have the couples together at one time, or one person can't do it, or is busy, or doesn't want to come back, whatever the case may be. But part of me would have just been okay if they were just friends and they built an actual friendship and made that the storyline. Or heaven forbid you bring another gay person on. You can maybe, let's just make 5 now, or maybe 6 now. You bring another gay person on for Leo, or I don't know. It's a little too lather, rinse, repeat.
Well,
Will and Sunny.
Well, we're definitely moving into dangerous territory here. Maybe we'll be surprised, and
I hope
it'll be nothing. I would appreciate the surprise of just sticking to the friendship.
Yeah,
because I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just saying it would be a very welcome treat as opposed to the alternative.
Yeah. I also think, Sunny, what the hell are you thinking? It's a little too far with the "you'll be my assistant when I go back." I was like, wait, what?
He's bored.
Yeah, that was.
Make Leo your good Judy. Make him your best friend. He does need to be your assistant.
Guys, literally, this is unfortunately, this is textbook, and why Michael Mattis is shaking his head, because he knows that the two enemies of a happy marriage are ego and boredom. We've seen it time and time again on this show. How when people have affairs, it's when their pride gets bruised and when they're bored.
Yeah.
And right now, Sunny
it's only a matter of time.
Not
it's
working.
Only a matter of time before Will disappoints Sunny again. Sunny's gonna go to Leo. Bow chicka bow wow.
It's just, this is what the 4th cheating storyline for them in the 10 years they've been. It's like, enough already. Enough with the one cheats on each other, one gets close to someone. We need more for them.
Enough already.
Yeah. Huh?
What is that? Steve Burton's, because we know Steve Burton's coming on, but Steve Burton's character is not gay.
No,
he's trying to get with Hope. That's random.
That totally threw me off. I was like, wait, what?
Okay.
No, Steve Burton's character wasn't gay. At least in Beyond Salem Chapter 2, he wasn't.
Yeah.
No, and we saw
I guess he and Hope never really... No, wait, they did. I don't know.
No.
I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Guys, can we get through December, please?
Wishful thinking, yeah.
Can we get through December, guys? He's not, we are fairly certain he's not showing up until the new year. Let's just get through December first, okay?
We'll see.
All right, we got a lot of ground to cover in the next few weeks before, things ramp up, and as we saw, they are going to ramp up in the new year.
Yeah.
We got a lot coming, so let's just pace ourselves accordingly. Okay. Yes. So Sunny and Leo, good but not good.
Yeah. Sunny. Yeah.
Yeah. Good but not good.
You can see it coming a mile away. Hopefully, there's a change there.
Yes. And that was your week of days. The end. Let's move on to our segments. Tony is not here, so we do not have 3 snaps. So we will start with Michael Mattis's Caption That.
Why is my thing not? Oh, is it playing?
It's playing, yeah.
Oh, why don't I hear it? I think this happened last time.
I didn't hear it last week.
Oh, okay. Anyways, this week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of Paulina getting arrested in the police station. And this week's caption goes to Joe Casatino on Twitter with his caption, Paulina saying to Sean, "You look hot in leather, but spare me the handcuffs."
Cute.
That was the best one.
Yeah, that'll work.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And that was?
I can't hear it, so tell me when it's over.
Caption That.
Done.
And now we move on to...
Those were the days. This week, Those Were the Days, I'm taking you guys back to December 1st, 2017, where we had the debut of Victoria Konefel as Sarah Brady. this is the images that we reference whenever we talk about Victoria and how she embodies sort of the great combination of Bo and Hope. Yes, that motorcycle ride up, the helmet coming off, and the hair toss is just typical, sort of embedded now in a Sierra and Victoria, just personified that beautifully. So, yeah, December 1st.
Who knew what we were in for?
I know. December 1st, 2017, Victoria Konefel joined the cast as Sierra Brady. Those were the days!
And now it's time for
It's a Gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to something close to my heart, which is female supporting females. Let's give a round of applause to Kate and Jada. This scene, just sometimes you just need a hug.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need someone to hold you and not say anything, not advise you. You just need someone to hold you while you cry.
Yeah.
Yep.
So bravo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Not. It wasn't. We said at the top of the show it wasn't a fun week.
Not a fun week.
No.
Yeah.
So, but
it was
this
a week,
moment
not a fun
deserved
week.
No. Perfect choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
And now we move on to news and gossip.
Yes, starting off, we have. That's right. New sound effect. Yeah, this week we're starting off with some pictures from the Hollywood Christmas Parade here in LA, captured by our very own Mr. Michael Mattis. He was there working. I was there, and Tony was there as well. Just kind of enjoying the parade, but Michael was actually working. Yeah, you see these prints. Deidre and her son David, I believe is his name. Yeah, David. Yeah. And they come every year. Deidre especially.
Deidre's come like the past every year I've covered it. She's been there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like a couple other, like last year Judy Evans came with her.
Right. Yeah.
A couple years before that, because then they took the COVID break. Year before that, it was her, Teo, and Lauren.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Deidre's there every year. Yeah.
So yeah, Days always has a presence at the parade, which is nice. Then we have Mr. Mike Manning there, Mr. Charlie Dale. Also, they're representing not only Days but also the Bay. So yeah, it was great seeing them on their riding, what do you call it, backseat in their cars for their parade. It was really cute. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. Took place last Sunday in Hollywood here in LA. So yeah, next up we have a little holiday movie that is premiering tonight that Jack A is co-starring in. This one is called The Search for Secret Santa. It is on the Ion channel. This is, I think, one of their first sort of original Christmas movies. They're like jumping into the game now and doing these Christmas movies. So yeah, Jack A is co-starring in this one, The Search for Secret Santa, tonight, 8 p.m. on the Ion channel. Check your local listings to, get more information. Yeah. And then we have, of course, the worst kept secret that is finally out now. And Alfonso are returning 2 Days of Our Lives. And if you saw them on Beyond Salem, they were the focus of that. And yes, the cat is out of the bag. They are now bringing Bo and Hope are coming back to the actual show. This is a little behind the scenes that Stephen Nichols took of him, Mary Beth, and Peter Reckle backstage in the sort of makeup trailer, just kind of having fun and being silly and just sort of celebrating the fact that Peter's back there with them. It was really cute. Go to Steven's Instagram page, see that. And there was also another one, which I could not find. Someone who will probably tell me, or I don't know if you guys saw it. I forgot who took the photo, but it's Peter Reckle, it's James Reynolds, it's Stephen Nichols, and Drake Hogestyn. And they're like lined up against they're like in the hallway of Days or something. Like
I think James might have posted it.
Yeah, it was really cute photo. Go check it out. It's just, and it was something like, Peter's back, or it was just in celebration of the fact that Peter's back on the show.
Together again.
Yeah, like everyone's together and they're celebrating like their history with him. It's just really cute and just some really sort of fun, interesting behind the scenes stuff. So go check that out. Yeah, check that out. Stephen Nichols' Instagram page that this video's on. Last but not least, we have an upcoming event with Spectrum Celebrity Events. This one is a Days Are Alive sort of VIP dinner. It's Friday, March 3rd, 5:30 to 7:30. It is a gold members only event, and you can all information to attend the dinner and sign up to be a Golden member, you can go to SpectrumCelebrityEvents.com. Special guests for this particular dinner so far are Carson Boatman, Colton Little, and Christopher Sean. So yeah, that'll be a really sort of fun dinner. And some of us, you may see some of us there if you join. Yeah. So Spectrum Celebrity Events.
Yeah, that's the real seller right there. You may see us.
Come see us. In addition to the day's actors, come see some of us who will be there. So you'll get to have dinner with us.
We'll be checking you in.
We'll see. TBD.
Yeah, to be determined. Yeah.
And that was your news and gossip. And before we go, let's take a look at the promo for next week's Days of Our Lives.
Hey, handsome. What you in for?
Wherever you're spending the holidays,
Will not coming home for Christmas.
make them memorable.
I just get the sense that you're a man who likes being on top. Okay, that came out wrong.
But not too memorable.
Oh my God.
And be sure to watch as we share our favorite holiday scenes on Days of Our Lives, 12 Days of Christmas. Christmas Day on Peacock.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, guys,
Okay.
I love stuff like that.
I don't like the VO lady on that. And I'm sorry, I don't know who it was. I'm used to it was underwhelming.
NBC
The
person.
dramatic of it, yeah.
I
This
hope
one
it
was
wasn't
more
Jill
sweet.
because I love
Yeah.
Jill.
Michael
Didn't
Mattis.
sound-
We're on a
didn't sound
different
like Jill.
network now.
Didn't sound like Jill, but I don't know.
I also
We're on
wanna
a different
mention-
network.
I guess because I'm used to that voice, the NBC guy. So yeah, we are on a different network now, so it makes sense. I guess it was just change. I don't like change.
Yeah.
I'm old. Sorry.
We did talk about this before, but again, we had days on Thanksgiving. Thank you, Peacock. These are the benefits of it being on Peacock. You didn't have interrupted service. We get these sort of, I don't know if this is considered a special or a mini special. I don't know if it's going to be its own separate thing or if it's going to be tagged on to the end of the episode. I don't know. We'll see. But we're getting stuff like this because it's on Peacock where you can do this. And also, I don't know if you guys have noticed the episodes have gotten slightly longer.
Yep.
Especially the week before or leading up to Thanksgiving. I think one episode was maybe even almost 45 minutes. And that's the longest we've gotten so far. So they're expanding them roughly anywhere from an extra 4 to 10 minutes. So yeah, we got longer episodes. Someone's commenting. Yeah. So
yes. And
benefits of Peacock.
Yes, and to answer Debbie Bright's question, yes, it was announced at somewhere tagged at the end of the December 24th episode, which is
26th.
the 26th episode. It is the December 26th episode, which will be the last one airing John Aniston. There will be a tribute. What that looks like, we don't know. I'm hoping because it's Peacock, and to Justin's point that they are making the episodes longer, that we'll get more than just a tagline kind of a thing. But as we know that, in the coming year, one of the things that they are tasked with is, saying goodbye to John Aniston and saying goodbye to the character of Victor. But, as we are months and months ahead in the schedule, we're not going to get that till probably at least next summer, spring or summer of the next year. So, it's not, I won't say it's something to look forward to, but it's something that I feel is a benefit of Days, in that the sense of that I don't think it'll be rushed. I think they're really going to give the character and John himself his due and do it justice.
Yeah.
Especially now that Peter and Christian are back on the canvas.
Yeah.
Which is to me was key.
Yeah, for sure.
And we always say, when people leave the show for various reasons, we've been saying this for how long, it doesn't mean they're gone forever. Again, people change. People who retire come out of retirement. People who are leaving because of conflict with either a producer or a network or other actors. Stuff changes all the time in soaps. So it's one of the reasons why, again, we don't know. I know a lot of you think we do. We're not on the inside in terms of knowing who's coming and going for the most part. But stuff changes like that. We had Christian Alfonso come back for Beyond Salem. Now her and Peter are coming back to the flagship show. Stuff changes people. Again, I know Ursula, we've talked about this before, and when people make decisions during COVID, we're now hopefully at the tail end of that and coming out of it, and people re-examine their lives now. I mean, Peter retired, maybe was it 5 or 6 years ago? And maybe he's in a different place now where he can come back for a longer stint.
A lot of the actors don't even live in the state.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg Vaughn, we found out that he lives in Texas.
Yeah.
He flies
Nadia
from
doesn't
Texas
live
to shoot
here
the
in
show.
LA anymore. And we know
Nadia lives in North Carolina.
Yes, she's in North Carolina.
Like, she lives across the country.
Yeah.
She flies herself. They fly themselves in.
I think goes back and forth too. He doesn't live in LA. Like, yeah, a lot of the actors on the show don't even live here. They live outside the state on the other side of the country, or in Peter's case, lives in Australia. So like things change with people. So we never say don't, you know. I know it's always, we don't like it when our favorite actor leaves a show, but it's not forever. Like, you know, things happen, change.
Yeah. So. And so we're grateful to, you know, the cast, in case we don't get a chance to say it in the next coming weeks of our show. You know, things are going to happen. Even with us, we've been talking behind the scenes of like, oh my God, we have to do this, we have to do that. So in case we don't get a chance to say it, I'll say it right now that I am personally very grateful to the cast and the crew on Days for making it happen. Peacock for going the extra mile and working with them in a bunch of the transitions that are happening, not just, you know, behind the scenes. And they said that as far as the storyline goes, that no real transition stuff. But I know that, you know, there's a lot of technical stuff that has to be ironed out with the writing team and with logistics and stuff like that. So we're very grateful to them for being able to work that out to continue to give us the show that we love. Especially because, you know, people do come and go, but as you know, we're going to be saying goodbye to John Aniston in the coming weeks, and in the coming year, we'll be saying goodbye to Victor Kiriakis, and that's a goodbye that's going to be permanent. And we're just grateful for the chance to have that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I second everything you said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't repeat it, but I'll second it.
Yeah, sorry. I'm very. I got like 10 hours of sleep last night for the first time in months.
No, I think we were thinking about, especially like the last couple of weeks with everything that's been happening. It's like, oh, there's so many changes and like benefits to having it on Peacock. You can bring other actors back, and when I mentioned like the Thanksgiving thing, it's not only Thanksgiving, it's also things like the Olympics. They don't need to take 2 weeks off now. They don't need to get preempted every time there's a news bulletin. Like all of that stuff changes how we view the show and how they construct the show. And so, yeah, it just, they're still ahead as far as we know.
Yes.
Maybe that'll change. Maybe they'll go down to 4 months or 3 months, or who knows if they're going to stay. They're right at this point, they're 8 months ahead. I don't know if the transition to Peacock is going to change that drastically. Maybe it will. They probably maybe don't need to be that much ahead anymore. So all of those things change how the writing of the show, how the show is put together, and how we view the show. So yeah, it looks like everything that we are seeing is that it's been a really great positive move in the not even 3.5 months since it's been on Peacock. And like we said, when we were at Day of Days, the love from Peacock and the way Day of Days was constructed this year just shows how much faith they have in Days of Our Lives and really putting a great foot forward and how we experience it, and how a lot of you who were there at Day of Days in the chat room, we saw and conversed and talked to and said that it was one of the best run that they've ever had. So yeah, all of that contributes to it. So it looks like positive things. We're sort of ending on a really good note this year for the show.
Yeah. And
for sure.
I mean, across the board, I've said this before, the industry is a mess, but in terms of soaps across the board, I'm feeling really good.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that to mark the end of this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say that saying we do have a couple of shows. This is not our last show for the new year. We do still have a couple of shows, but as I said, we ourselves are kind of up and down behind the scenes. So we will leave it there, and we will be seeing you next week.
Yes.
So before we leave, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us on the podcasts. If you can't watch us live, follow us on Facebook at Dishin Days Show, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on Twitter. Make sure to buy our merch, dishindays.threadless.com. We have a spiel at the beginning to make sure you get all your merch in time. Follow Michael Mattis, follow Justin, follow me. Let's see.
Follow Tony. Lounging with Tony.
Follow
he ain't
Tony.
here, but follow him.
You know the drill.
And then again, the rest of us. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We you know where to find us. And if you don't, you'll figure it out. Okay. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today to mark the beginning of December. We will see you for Dishin Days next week.
Yeah. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Everyone.